Hello, fantasy baseball managers. Once again, this is Tyler Burkhart here with your April rankings. A month ago, I gave my pre-rankings and where I thought you took place in the league. But after a month of seeing how teams performed, I'm ready to revamp and reshuffle my predictions here. So let's get right to it. At the 12th spot, down 2 spots, is Chuck Norris, Ben Wirtz's team. Other than Prince Fielder and Andrew McCutchen, a very weak hitting lineup. One of the positives, though, is perhaps the strongest rotation with David Price, Buchholz, Jimenez, and Roy Halladay. So if I was Chuck Norris, I would use that pitching and upgrade your hitting, because hitting is probably more important than pitching in fantasy baseball. And with only those two players, I think it's going to be really hard for Chuck Norris and Ben Wirtz to make a significant impact here. So Chuck Norris, number 12. Number 11, staying at number 11 from the pre-rankings, is Brian Kleinschmidt's BK Broilers. Brian, I told you from the very beginning, you are an old team. A-Rod, Ichiro, Ibanez, Furcal. I mean, these are some old players, and sure enough, you now have 4 players on the DL. So if I were you, I'd try to get younger and healthier players that might be more on the rise instead of the fall throughout the year. However, once again, good pitching in Carpenter, Lester, and Kane. Maybe use one of those pitchers to upgrade some of your hitting categories. Coming at the 10th spot is Executioner Mayhem, Chris Nigber's team. You know, I know they're number 2 right now, but I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon quite yet. You know, Troy Tulowitzki had a hot month, and I commend him for getting Troy Tulowitzki at the 3rd spot. But, you know, a lot of just okay hitters around him. Dustin Pedroia, Martin Prado, Kevin Youkilis, Curtis Granderson, Brian McCann. You know, not like fantastic fantasy players, but okay fantasy players. And I think he's got a lot of depth at outfield, so I would trade some of that depth perhaps to get more overall better starters. Also, other than CC Sabathia, just a lot of young pitchers that I don't think are going to be very consistent throughout the year. So experienced pitching and maybe some more star power in the outfield would be 2 of the recommendations I'd make for Mayhem. If they continue winning in May, though, if Chris does that, I will then increase his ranking. But I'm going to keep him kind of low at number 10. Number 9, dropping 7 spots, is Josh Miller's Philly Fakeout. Plagued with the injury of Evan Longoria, definitely hurt his team. But I mean, he's got some good players. Posey, Teixeira, Rollins, Victorino. Those are the players I noted that I feel like are good players. But the worst pitching in the league, and I think it's plagued him so far in the year, and unless Josh recognizes that his starting pitching is the worst in the league, I think he's going to lose a lot of pitching categories, and I think a lot of times he'll either split the hitting categories or maybe slightly win. But if you're losing majority of your pitching categories, you're not going to win in the league. So until Josh realizes this, I think Josh is going to be fairly low in the league. So I think he's going to have to improve on that. So Josh Miller at 9th. At number 8, falling down 2 spots, is Evan Armstrong's Jay Cutler's MCL. I love his outfield with Justin Upton, Ryan Braun, Corey Hart's back, and hopefully Alex Rios will get it back and going here. But great outfield, terrible infield. Really, I know that, you know, you've had some hot hitters with especially Howie Kendrick, but like Pedro Alvarez and Dan Ugla, and I forgot who your shortstop is, but just very average talent. And I think that could definitely be improved. Okay rotation. Tim Lincecum great. Gio Gonzalez great. But after that, not too much to look at. So Evan needs to improve those categories. Also, I've really questioned his managing. I feel like a lot of managers have been actually following their teams more closely than Evan. So I'm going to call Evan out and challenge him to do a better job managing his team. And that's why I dropped him. Otherwise, I would have kept him at 6. So, Evan, sorry, man, I'm calling you out. And I'm going to challenge you to have a better month in May. Number 7, going up 1 spot, LA Quakes, Nathan Burkhart. Got off to a really slow start, kind of picked it up. I think Joey Votto is the best fantasy baseball player. I'm going to come out and say it. And I really like his infield, best infield in the league with Votto, Phillips, Beltre, and Reyes. And then he's got all these okay outfielders like Soriano, Alex Gordon, Chris Young. So if I were him, I would upgrade outfield. Also, pitching is very average. So I would try to trade. I know he's got Kendry Morales, who's going to come, I think, off the DL. So possibly he could also trade him too. Number 6, dropping from the number 1 ranking, is Lucas Rank. The only reason I've done this is now I'm really starting to questioning the health. I know Grady Sizemore's back and he's looked good, which I thought he would. Now with Josh Hamilton out, it's a huge question mark on the health. I mean, you've had a lot of injury-prone individuals on this team. Ricky Weeks has been hurt in the past. Jake Peavy, we don't know what he's going to do on the DL. So a lot of injury question marks. I think potentially Lucas's team could still be up there. But because of the injuries, I think that's a huge question mark. So Lucas, I would try to, because Sizemore stock's really high right now, I would say, or at least higher than it might be in the long run. I would start trying to trade some of these injury-prone players, maybe Weeks as well, try to get more healthy, consistent individuals on your team. Otherwise, I think he still, at this point, would sneak into the playoffs. Number 5, moving up 4 spots, is Chris Pollock with the Ellsbury Doughboys. Great hitters with Miguel Cabrera. Ian Kinsler, I think Bautista looks like he's ready for another great year. I really like Matt Holliday. Even picked up that Sam Fuld, who I really like a lot. And who knows, maybe Justin Morneau will decide, hey, I'll start batting. So really great hitting lineup, but I'm still going to call it. With his pitching strategy, he will not win this league. His Jared Weaver and Tommy Hanson, 2 great pitchers, but other than that, nothing. And I know he's going with the whole relief pitchers as far as 7th and 8th inning pitchers, but I don't think that's going to work in this league. I have never seen that strategy work, and until I see it happen, I'm not going to believe it. I kind of tried that last year, and it just didn't work in the playoffs. So I'm going to have him at 5 just because of his hitting, but really needs to improve that pitching. Number 4, moving up 1 spot, I have Kyle Armstrong's Tony Plush. Awesome last name, or awesome team name, I should say. You look at Kyle's team, he's got some great power, Adrian Gonzalez and Nelson Cruz. And he's got a lot of guys that can hit for average and score runs in David Wright, Stubbs, Chu on the Indians, and Brian Roberts. So a lot of these very good, well-rounded team. Pitching is okay. We got Gallardo and some other Scherzer, some other good talent there. But overall, I wouldn't do anything at this point if I was Kyle. I would see how this team goes and see what happens. Maybe try trading 2 players for 1 because he's got a lot of good depth right now. So you can improve that starting lineup who he typically plays on a daily basis. But overall, great team. Not too many complaints with Kyle's team coming at the 4th spot. Number 3, also moving up 1 spot, is where I have myself with the KC Urban Planners. I think it was a huge move getting Carlos Gonzalez and Billy Butler. Butler's a very consistent and underrated bat, which I needed. So now in my outfield with Gonzalez and Jason Hayward, I really like a lot. And then I'm a 500 team with Hanley Ramirez batting under 200. So I consider that a blessing just to be 500 at this point. I think Hanley will pick it up. And then Ike Davis has been exactly what I've hoped for, batting 350 and a lot of ribbies. So I'm excited about that. All my pitchers are under an ERA of 4, so pitching's great too. But I know I have to improve my power numbers with homers, RBIs, and doubles. So I'll be looking to do that this month as well. Coming at the number 2 spot, moving up 5 spots, is Adam Wirtz with Brujas. Once again, very similar to Kyle Armstrong. Very well-rounded team. Not too many holes, but yet not a lot of star power where I really am gravitated towards. Hopefully Carl Crawford will pick it up for him. But otherwise, great pitching in Dan Herron, Josh Beckett, Clayton Kershaw. So I really like that team a lot. He may need one or two more bigger and more consistent bats in order to pull it off, but possibly one of the best pitching rotations in the league. So that leaves us to the number 1 spot. The new number 1 is Brian Edmondson with the Bryans Blasters, going up 2 spots there. Best hitting lineup, I said it from the beginning, with Pujols, Kemp, Ethier, Mauer, Utley when he comes back, Starlin Castro. He picked up Lance Berkman. Even Pablo Sandoval looks great. Great hitting lineup. However, I will call it right now, similar to Chris Pollock, he will not win the league with his pitching. It just is not good enough. Roy Oswalt and Ricky Romero are really 2 of his star power pitchers, and that's it. So if Brian wants to win this league, he has to upgrade pitching. Otherwise, I love his team. He has a lot of great hitters, and I think that will get him into the playoffs, but not necessarily win it. So those are your pre-rankings entering the month of May. Finally, I just want to give out the Manager of the Month award. I'll do this always at the end of my monthly reviews. To Adam Wirtz, kind of obvious. He's on top. He's the most consistent manager at this point, and he's made some trades too. So I definitely commend him on that. Also, I'll always end these reviews with a final remark and just kind of reflection on the first month generally. And my comment is that those managers that are looking to make trades and are able to sacrifice some of their categories to improve in others are going to benefit in the end. I'm not going to call people out, but there's some individuals that they're not willing to give up anything for anything. And I think that's going to eventually bite them in the end. You got to remember, when you're trading, you have to give up some to give some. And there's about 3 managers that I've tried to trade with at this point. And it's okay if you're okay with your team. That's fine. But eventually you're going to have to try to get a few trades in if you want to win this league. And so I think Kyle Armstrong is an individual and Nate Burkhart are the 2 individuals that I would say that have done a great job trading so far. And I think it's going to benefit them in the long run. Also, sorry, Adam Wirtz, I don't want to leave you out too. Those 3 individuals have done a great job trading. And I think in the month of May we're going to see them move up the rankings because of it. So, for those managers, I challenge you, get those trades out, see the areas that you can improve upon. Try to also use the trading block. Only a few managers have even updated that. That's a great way to see, who's on the market and who's, who wants to trade who. So, please utilize that. Otherwise, best of luck for the month of May, and once again, hopefully you don't run into the KC Urban Planners, because I plan on taking you down. Tyler Burkhart here. Stay tuned, and good luck for the month of May. Take care.